Welcome to the Council of Kings and Queens powered by Reality Check Empowerment Zone. Now let's welcome our host, Dr. V.
I like that music. I want that music to keep playing just a little bit longer. I was having my own party. Hey, everybody, welcome. It is the Council, COUNSEL, of Kings and Queens. I am here today, the Dr. V, with some head hitters sitting on the proverbial stage. And of course, I have my co-host Crown behind me today. So welcome. Today, we have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon us, can't abuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to us to use it, give account if we abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. And that is the Benjamin E. Mays that graced us with that and put it in our minds that every bit of time has some type of importance and has some type of impact. And today, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about time. We're talking about the past, the present, which is our gift, and the future, which we get a chance to use or we lose, right? So today I'm so excited. We're going to first take a minute and we're going to start off with just some quick introductions so you can see who's in the room. If you are on the live with us, if you'll please mute yourself until it's time for us to hear your voice. We would love that because we want to be so respectful and allow everybody to hear the beauty of what's going on. I love it. Don't you love it when the plan comes together? Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So we're going to start in the corner. We're going to do our introductions, and then we're going to apparently there's a little bit of competition going on in this room. And the competition has to do with understanding who's who in our Black history world. Is that correct, Dr. Future Nikki Riggins here? Is it all right? So we're going to start off with the introductions, and then we're going to play our Black history game. Is that correct? Because let me break it. Let me just put it on the stage for you today. Today, the subject is wisdom, strength, power. Right? So we're talking about what we take from the past, what we use for the now, and what we align for the future. So that's what we're going to be talking about in just a minute. Strength, courage, and wisdom. That's what we're doing, right? Because it's inside. All of us, all of that is inside. So we are waiting for that conversation to come. So first the game, and then a little conversation, and then some solutions. So, all right, Nikki, come on.
Well, I am Nikki Riggins, Nicole Riggins. I am the CEO of Reality Check Empowerment Zone, and a few other hats that I wear. Tonight, I am wearing my crown hat because I am here with us with the Council of Kings and Queens. And the purpose of the Council of Kings and Queens, I have a book series called Reality Checks. And in that Reality Check series, I thank some people that have been a part of my life for many years, and some not so many years, but they have definitely made an impact. And they are my counsel, my advice from kings and my advice from queens. And so I have some of my kings and queens on for each show. There is somebody that is mentioned in the book, in the thank yous. Some probably didn't know that they were mentioned in the book in the thank yous until I just said it. And one I know for sure didn't know because he's known me since I was 14. And probably didn't know that he was there, but he's there. But I'll let him introduce himself later. But thank everybody for joining us tonight. And thank you, Dr. V, for being our host and our resident host. She is our dream keeper. And so I'll let her explain what that dream keeper means.
Okay. All right. So Dream Keepers is a nonprofit that basically uses the arts to examine social social actions, anything that's going on in the world. We will take that particular event, that particular concept, and through poetry, through song, or through any type of theatrical stage, we will take a look at that. We're going to take a look at domestic violence. We're going to take a look at violence. We're going to take a look at trafficking, whatever it is. And we will, through the arts, allow you to take a look at it without it being so burdensome, but then take you through the steps to attacking it and being able to dismantle it. So as a community, so through the arts, we're going to use that to dismantle what's really plaguing our world. So that's what Dream Keepers is. I'm a poet and an author and a mama and an auntie to upcoming one of our brilliant geniuses that's on stage right now. And probably my favorite role in the world is being a mommy and an auntie. So we're introducing right now Mr. Mark Riggins.
Wow, that's like really tough to follow. Hi, I'm Mark. I'm the lady with the crown on, wherever she is in relation to me. I'm her son, and Dr. Valencia. That's so weird to say. I always call her on TV. Her godson, and yeah, I'm just here. I was invited here. I'm happy to be here. Hopefully, I don't, eclipse everybody else with this. What we're supposed to be doing. So, yeah.
We forgot to tell you, Marky was a little shy and had a little bit of low self-esteem. Not, okay, all right, like not at all. Literally a genius that knows his power, and I like that about you. I like it that you are unapologetically brilliant. I appreciate that. I really do. All right, Miss Michelle.
I'm unmuted, right? Good.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hi.
I'm Michelle Small. I am a life coach. I have a life coach and mentoring business. It's Courageous Me. I am most recently an author. Woo woo. And woo woo. And I also have most recently, many people do not know this, I actually started a publishing company. It's King's Publishing. And I specifically started this not so much to become big in publishing, but because I realized something you said, Dr. V, I realized so many of us have, so many of our stories that Black people are not being written. And they don't realize that it's not that hard. So my heart on that is really to help our stories get told.
I love it.
And I also have a nonprofit, Hagar's Hands, which is a mentoring for executive assistants.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Beautiful.
And I'm a minister for one of Bishop Jerron C. Williams' ministers. And he allows me to sit on a bench and help him out sometimes.
I love it. I love it. I feel the ministry portion in the room. I was reading in Hebrews yesterday and literally made me cry because it talked about us being heirs, like we are literally heirs to the kingdom. And it is because we do not understand what being an heir means that we are not able to sit in the positions that we should sit in. So this Counsel, SEL, the good advice, and the CIL, the people in and of itself, would be the understanding, filtering that down of who we are in Christ. And I can't even tell you, Bishop, I got so excited when I understood that God guaranteed himself. Like, we need a bank to guarantee our loan. He said, ain't nobody bigger than me. I'm going to tell you who you are, and then I'm going to guarantee you by me. What? Can't put it past that. That thing is exciting, right? And so if we can get our young people to understand that they are guaranteed by something that can't be taken away. Don't even get me started. Come on, come on, Kayla. Come on, because I come on. Just come on.
Now I'm like, Mark, how do I follow that? Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla Burrell, and I am the owner of Perrier's Pieces by KB, which is a accessory company. I am also a I like it, Nikki. Thank you. Also a project manager. And so I work in a number of different roles in a number of different entities. And funny enough that Michelle is on because I am probably a byproduct, not probably, I am a byproduct of her mentorship.
I love it.
In that project management coordinator role. So it's great to be on the panel with all of you. I am not a history major. I do science. So let's see how this works out. But I'm excited to be here. So thank you.
Me too. I'm in the role of learning as well. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right. The Dr. Bishop. Let's go, Dr. Williams. How are you?
I am well. Good evening to everyone. I affectionately call everybody family. So good evening, family. I am Jerron Williams, Senior Pastor, New Life International Family Church, presiding bishop, Breath of Life Fellowship, chancellor, Sharing Life School of Ministry, proprietor, J.C. Williams Ministries, husband of Latoya, father of Jerron. And
I
so
love it.
I am privileged, highly privileged, to be on the Counsel, to be a part of the Counsel, Counsel, that makes up a Council. So I'm privileged to be here. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to. Now, was I supposed to talk about a book for him? Is that in the later? Okay, later on, right?
We can do that later. We can do that later, but we're definitely going to
Okay.
chat about it. And I will say that this is one of the reasons right there, for those of you who knew Nikki years ago, the calmer version of Nikki, you need to thank him. So I will put his cash up later because woo, yes, we thank God for Bishop. Yes.
Thank you, Bishop. I think I've heard a lot about you, especially in Mackenzie's prayer life.
Yes, that's
Yes.
my Mackenzie.
You are the bishop. I love it because I know the quote because Bishop said.
Because
Okay.
Bishop said, yes.
I love it. I love it. All right. So thank you so much, sir. We have next isn't this our resident? This is our security administration guy, right? He runs all of our security ops. Everything is. Hey, Jarvis, come on and tell us who you are.
Well, hello, family. I am the great Jarvis McAfee. He had me behind Bishop. Got me nervous now. Let's see how I can do this. Let me sit up straight with him. I am Jarvis McAfee. I am, as you see now, I'm under the role of dad. But I am a dad, a brother, a son, the owner of Intellectual Intercession Incorporated, and I have an investment firm. That's pretty much my life right now. I'm living it to the fullest. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Jarvis. I'm glad to see you. All right. Okay. All right. Our anchor is Mr. Rob Malloy. I'm going to give him a chance. This is always so hard for me to introduce Rob. He's definitely my sparring partner, so I'm trying to really be good right now. So, good evening, Mr. Malloy.
Hey, Dr. V, don't hold back on my behalf. Let's get it.
Good.
Give people what they want. Hey, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. First and foremost, I always love giving honor and respect to platforms like this. I have had a chance to pretty much work with each and every guest in some capacity, and it's always a good time. It's stress-free. We have a good time, and we really dig into whatever the subject we need to get into. So we get to bounce around any particular arena. So it's really cool. But my name is Rob Malloy. I have a few things going on, but first and foremost, I'm a proud father of 4, 3 girls and 1 son. I'm a veteran. I'm a military veteran, but I'm also a veteran in life. I consider myself a student in life at all times. And so I take my 40 plus years of experience and lessons and apply them. And one of the things I have the honor to do is also a mentorship for men that are like me, a little bit later in their age, and are learning some new things in life or want to learn new things in life. And so I'm having a lot of fun with that. But the nonprofit organization is Keeping Veterans Fit. It's based right here in Atlanta. And we're doing a lot of special things, especially during this time and what's been going on worldwide. And so, that's one of my babies that I always like to talk about. But I also have a few brands, right? I know you guys see the white beard and try to figure out, is it a lace front? Is it paint?
That was hilarious.
What it is. But actually, I've got into the luxury fashion and luxury grooming for men, and we'll be introducing some things for the ladies. But enough about that. It's an honor to be here, and I'm very thankful, and I look forward to our content and contest.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we are headed into our game. So Bishop, I have a book called Everyday Prayers for Everyday People. Rob is my impetus to be able to boost that book and use it most of the time, because I need to employ my prayer life in order for us to get along. And then there is Kaleidoscope Love, which I was thinking about when I was looking at you. That book is about all different kinds of relationships, and that's what we're about to talk about now. Just how relationships impact us, and each of us has a kaleidoscope relationship. We have the aunt that was something in our life. We have the friend that we sparred with. We have the godson. We have the new minister. We have the budding writer in our midst. We have this, there are people all in our midst, and those relationships are what make us who we are. Right. And so, and that was the impetus of Kaleidoscope Love and all those poems. So we're about to go into that type of vibe, is looking at relationships, Black history relationships. Now, Marky, I know you're going to consider this totally contest, a total just battle of the wheels. But think of it also as relationships and learning, so that, ladies, if he beats the pants off of us, we can think of it as relationships and learning. Nikki, let's go.
All righty. So I'm going to ask everybody to unmute yourselves, because we are going to need. Oh, Jarvis, I know you can't because you're in birthday mode. So I got it. So we appreciate you.
Raise your hand.
Just raise your hand or give us a thumbs up if you think you know the answer. So the name of the game is I Am the First. And it is a game created. And well, I was one of the designers of the game. The other designer of the game is there. Hello, Sharice Gordine. Hello, Donald Burrell, one of our past, I'm one of the members of the Council of Kings. I'm glad to see you all on with us. So we are there. Who did we? Okay.
We just lost Bishop.
I think we lost Bishop, but he'll come back. He'll pop back in. So the game, the name of the game is I Am the First. And so I Am the First is it's a Black History trivia game. All right. So we're going to get started. I am the first African-American woman to found and become president of a bank. Who am I? So, all right, people, those who are watching us on either Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or the website realitychecksez.com, you all can also play the game and chat, and there is a prize involved. So, I am the first, and so you can use your
right.
I'm looking for the chat. Say what now?
I don't know.
You can use your phone to Google if you want.
Oh, great. I didn't want to see
Vivian Sylvain until everybody else can Google it. That was the first Black banker I ever met.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Actually, my mom was the first Black banker on this side of, this side of the community. She really was. She really was. So that's my guess. Okay.
All right. Nope, that's not it. Who else we got? Oh, let me add Bishop back.
Maggie
I
L.
was like, am I supposed to give everybody some time? How's this work?
No,
No,
you can
you can answer the question.
Yeah.
Is it Maggie L. Walker?
That's what I just
It is
said.
Maggie L. Walker.
However, I had to Google it, but I did have the answer.
Taylor, there will be no you don't need to have any explanations.
Okay.
Just stand firm.
Okay.
All right, our next one.
I got it.
So this is a family, okay?
Okay.
Our family became notable in U.S. history because of the high achievements of its first generation of children who were born into slavery in Georgia. In our family, we have the first bishop of African American descent in the Catholic Church, the first African American president of Georgetown University, the first African American Mother Superior in the Catholic Church, and the first person of African American descent to command a federal ship in the United States. Who are we?
It's the whole family.
The whole family. You can give the last name.
King. Anybody else? I didn't Google.
Last name Curry. Oh, no.
You don't know either, Mark? Going what?
His last name Gregory or something?
Nope. Last name is Healy, the Healy family.
That's right.
James Augustine Healy was the bishop. Patrick Francis Healy was the president of Georgetown. Eliza Healy was the Roman Catholic Mother Superior. And Michael Healy was in the United States Revenue Cutter Service, which is the ended up becoming the Coast Guard.
Okay, and spell the last name.
Healy.
This is just for your notes because I want you guys to know I'm coming back and I'm going to replay this session. We're doing it again. It's not sitting well with me at all. Okay.
All right. The first African American graduate of West Point and first African American commissioned officer in the U.S. military from Columbus, Georgia.
Oh, goodness.
It was right on the tip of my tongue.
It was on the tip of your tongue? Okay.
For real, I almost knew that one.
Flipper.
Henry,
Yes.
I want to say Flipper.
Yeah, Kayla got that one first. Yep, it was. Yep, Henry.
Now,
Henry Flipper.
Now, is this related to the church?
It is related to. I didn't hear what you said.
Flipper Temple. Is this related to the church?
I don't know. It might be, but he's from Georgia, so it may be.
Yeah. So let's put that on your list first.
Okay.
Let's
All right. The
Ain't no
first African American invited to dine at the White House.
The butler.
No, first African American invited to dine at the White House, and it was not the butler.
That was a good one, though.
Goodness.
Was it Booker T?
Well, it
Was it a
long
lady?
ago, we all know.
Was it a lady?
No, what did you say,
Booker T.
Mark?
Washington, wasn't it?
It's Booker T. Washington.
Booker T. Washington. Okay. But who was the lady that wasn't there a lady that was second? Maybe Sojourner. I want to say Sojourner, but go ahead.
First African American to be an aviation pilot, first American to hold an international pilot's license.
Is it a woman?
It is a woman.
Yes, it is.
It is Bessie Coleman.
Betsy Coleman. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Bishop. Who said that? Whoever it is, keep on praying. I'll take it from either side of this one.
All righty. First African American Solicitor General.
No, I do not know.
Okay, I'll give you another hint. For the first African American Solicitor General, he was also the
Was it Thurgood Marshall?
yes, Thurgood Marshall.
And I just saw that doggone movie. It didn't mention it in there, doggone it.
He also became the first African American Supreme Court justice, but he was the first African American Solicitor General.
They did not say that.
All
Nick,
right,
you got one more question. That's it. But
no, I got some more, but it's not that many, and they're easier. Okay. First African American woman to compete on a world tennis tour. Hint: she went to FAMU.
Serena. Who was
Althea Gibson. Althea Gibson.
That's correct. He was way
All
before them. Right.
Last three. These should be very easy. Marcus. Yeah. All right. I am the first elected African American officer to serve the State Bar of Georgia since its inception in 1883.
Oh,
I am also the first African American and third woman to serve as president of the Georgia State Bar. Who am I? Go ahead, Mark.
Nepotism. Does this count as nepotism?
Yes, it does, but go ahead.
It's Patrice. It's cousin Patrice.
Yes. It's Patrice Perkins Booker.
Okay.
All right. I am the first African American to hold the Guinness World Record for longest consecutive period of chart success after spending over 5 years on the Billboard charts continuously, breaking the record that was previously held by the Beatles. Who am I?
Michael Jackson.
Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
Brian
younger.
Michael Cox.
Oh, that's right.
Who was it?
Say it again, Rob.
Brian Michael Cox. B. Cox.
Okay.
Brian, you're Brian Valencia.
I got who it was when he said it, but I
mad.
honestly didn't know. I didn't know it like that.
Yeah. All right, last one. I am the first African American vice presidential running mate on a major party ticket, and the first. Yes, my hilarious, Mark.
I got
you
the
let me.
t-shirt.
You
I
couldn't
got
let
the
me finish the
t-shirt.
question.
I got the t-shirt.
And we have our pearls. Those of us with our pearls on, we have our pearls.
Yeah, I got the t-shirt. Got the t-shirt. No pearls, but I got the t-shirt. I'm mad. I'm flat out mad. Shoot, y'all not mad? You should be.
Hi, niece.
I'm
that
so mad.
To you. Do you see who's waving at us on our show?
Look at there. Tell my baby.
My niece, her child, is at Milton's birthday parties. Hey, Cookie.
Hey, sweet baby. I'm real mad. I'm glad Cookie went on here. I would never hear the end of that. So here's the deal. I'm mad. Did anybody on StreamYard know why I'm mad? Because I am pretty well read. And I didn't do well. I'm a little ticked about that. And I think that if we can garner we can have all the fun, but garner some of the ticks that comes with what we need to do for our future. That's what's going to be the answer. Yeah. Because we have to know what's behind us in order to get to what's in front of us. So I had fun, but I'm a little seriously ticked about that thing. And what am I going to do about it is to read a little bit more and talk a little bit more and listen a little bit more. So here is where
Dr. V.
Yes.
Dr. V, I think that one of our challenges with history is that our culture is oral tradition. Our culture is sitting and hearing and listening from the mouth of the historians to be able to perpetuate that history. And I think we've lost that in our culture. I don't think
Yes.
we sit and listen to our elders. We don't hear what they've been through. So we're reduced to a book. We used to talk to the books, but now it seems as though we have so disregarded our elders and our culture and so pushed them aside for us to shine that our shine is very limited and very lackluster.
Is no books. They're not in it. They didn't even put them in any books. Right. To your point,
Right.
at this point, um, for my family, I'm the griot. I have everybody's diploma. I have everybody's. I have my great grandparents. I have the Bible. You know the Bible. Everybody mute
Yeah.
yourself for me, please. I have the Bible. Um, I have the Bible that has where everybody is married and everything. Right. I mean, of course, unmute if you're about to talk, guys. I just heard that extra noise. I don't know if you're talking, understand what I'm talking about. But I have that Bible,
Sure.
and that Bible tells me who got married, when everybody was born. The people that didn't have any birth certificates, I know my great grandparents because of that. I had actually know my great grandparents
Wow.
because of that.
Wow.
Um, so I have everybody. I even have like dishes or the things that people. I just have everything. That's just who I am. So we have it all stored, boxed up. I even have quilts, the
Wow.
handmade quilts that they used to put out with the
Yeah.
things. My grandmother would have us up under the blanket going like this to make the quilt. All of those things are intergenerational.
Wow.
So that's what we're about to talk about now. How these things were. NDRE wasn't off when she started, when she made the song Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. She wasn't off. She was on track when she said, you know, inside my head there is a dream that I want to see in the sun. That was the tail end of Martin Luther King. There's a dream that she wanted to see someplace, you know, behind this thing that she saw for herself. She was hiding. She said that's what the lyrics say, that I'm hiding me for much too long. And that's what's happening right now with our generations, is that we don't talk enough, we're not transparent enough, and we don't work together well enough. So we're losing something.
That's
So
absolutely right.
we're now going to talk about wisdom, evaluating past. What's the wisdom in evaluating the past? What do we need to do with our present? And then how do we align our vision and for power in the future? So those are the three components that we're going to talk about. So we want to start out, and Bishop, you are the perfect segue. I feel like doing a little jig because you're the perfect segue of talking about wisdom and the difference between um, wisdom and knowledge. So if you could tell us a little bit about wisdom and knowledge. We know when we say evaluating, because this first segment is about evaluating wisdom. And so evaluation, when you look at the etymology of that word, evaluation talks about finding the importance of. That's the etymology of the word evaluation. So I would like for you to lead us into the difference between wisdom and knowledge, and how does that play into us looking at the past?
Well, please interrupt me when I'm talking too long because I can go all day on this. But knowledge is the knowing what. I often say knowledge is knowing what to do. Wisdom is knowing how. Wisdom is about the means. It is about how we apply certain things and how we carry out certain things. Wisdom, in many people's mindsets, is an accumulation of experiences and lessons. And so some people think you can't be wise until you get of a certain age, or you can't have wisdom until you go through a certain number of things. But I submit that wisdom is really an essence, it's a spirit that can be caught, it's a spirit that can be developed in us. And I think the connection to our elders, and I'm going to go back there one more time, the connection to our elders and learning their spirits and picking up their ways is one of the greatest ways to develop and receive that spirit of wisdom. There are people who've been through lifelong encounters and still lack wisdom. Um, so knowledge is critical. What we don't know, we're bound to repeat. Wisdom is critical because if we know it but don't know how to apply it in the current day, we'll suffer what I'll call defeat. So then they walk hand in hand, but God give us more people with wisdom that know how to communicate, that know how to embrace the person and reject the attitude, that knows how to share the love and override some other things that people tend to deal out. So I think the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom of our ancestors, the wisdom of our great, great, great grands, and even the wisdom of some of our youth nowadays. We have some wise children that seemingly that spirit of wisdom has jumped on. And so I think wisdom is something that we need to learn how to detect, respect, and cultivate.
So I'm probably going to give you like this traveling mic award because you just traveled my mic right over to Marky. Because as you were talking, that was the download for me, and it's
Yeah.
always the download that I believe that intergenerational equity is the top line of currency. Those are the dollars that we need to be bargaining with at this point. That's equity, is intergenerational acquisition. That's it. So Marky, I'm sorry, Mark.
Fine.
So Marky, I'm gonna put the proverbial mic in your hand because I'm gonna ask you, what do you think about the role of the past in your life? Is there
Um,
such a role?
I think the role of the past in my life specifically, it's kind of a broad question, but I think it plays a very large role in terms of like being, Black. It definitely does play a large role. Um, you can't really examine anything, at least in my opinion, today fully without sort of looking at where it comes from, which is why I decided to major in history, because a lot of the things that we talk about today, especially in our society, and especially now with, how societal tensions and political climate are right now, a lot of people sort of fail to look back and realize that like none of this is really new. And all of this sort of has an origin somewhere that's so far back down the line that it's so easy to ignore, but in ignoring it, you sort of miss out on a lot of vital understanding. It's pretty much impossible if you want to have in-depth discussions to not examine what happened before any of us were really here. But further to that, I know you two were sort of talking about how it sort of deteriorates because we don't really talk like between generations, the youth and people who have been around a lot longer. We don't really talk about it, and we can't really detect wisdom within each other. And so I definitely think that when it comes to children, a big part of that is sort of a lot of people don't believe that like children are ready to like possess that sort of wisdom, as a child. There are some things that you probably shouldn't be exposed to, but at the same time, a lot of people believe that children are just incapable of sort of fathoming, the depth of some things, and that sort of leads to the deterioration because it's not, oh, you're pretty wise for your age. It's, you know too much, or you don't really know what you're talking about, or you're not ready to talk about it. And then as time progresses, that sort of knowing or a desire to know or to find out about things that happened before you sort of just vanishes. And before you know it, you have a lot of kids who grew up, really wise, maybe displaying like a affinity for wanting to know how and wanting to gain that wisdom and move forward and create new solutions. And you sort of create a generation of people who are just like, it's not for me. I've always been taught that being wise isn't, what I'm supposed to be doing. And now that I'm an adult, now that they grow up, they're sort of expected to develop that wisdom when all this time they've sort of been told that they don't really need to, and so they just sort of have to start from nowhere, and a lot of people don't really want to do that.
Yeah, that's a long route. So, Mark, you are an anomaly, and I know that because I've been privy to your life. And I know that we actually had conversations over the dinner table that were like that was like us over spaghetti. Like,
Right.
somebody got spaghetti dripping and you talking about, what about the cat? Okay, well, all right. That's who, but as a young adult, right at this moment, what's one thing that you could say to another young adult to cue them into the impact that history can make, understanding history can make? One thing, what would you tell them?
I'd probably, and I've been told that my analogies are really, far out, so sometimes they're hit or miss. But I tell them to sort of look at like life as like a house, right? It's very easy to just see the house that you live in. You have a bedroom, you have a bed, you have all this stuff in your house, and it's a cool house. But we don't really sort of acknowledge that every single house that we live in, every single house that we know is built on a foundation. And ultimately speaking, you
Okay.
can't have that house without a foundation. And just like
Okay.
you have all the things that you're used to now, all of that has a foundation. And it's a lot easier to understand the things that you have now if you just take a couple years, step back.
I think that's a great analogy. I think that's a relatable analogy. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna ask one more person about what would you use? The question is, how would you instruct someone about evaluating the past? How do you instruct someone to find the value in the past? What was some method that they can use to find value in the past? So ladies, I'm going to start with you, and then travel down to Jarvis and Mr. Rob. So either one of you want to jump in? You got it's hot on your heavy. Just the method of evaluation. How do you evaluate what's important in the past? How do you evaluate? Because that in and of itself is a process, right? Evaluation is a process. So how do you evaluate something to find that nugget that you need? What would you say, Michelle?
Well, actually, in my book, one of the first things and the last things I say in my book is to write out your story. And a few of the individuals that I'm mentoring and writing their books, they're ready to gung ho because they have experiences and wisdom and they want to share it. And I pull them back and I said, let's write out your story. And they say, how? And I'll usually start with something as simple as a resume, because most people don't sit down and look at everywhere they have been in their life. And I will and once they do the resume, I will go in between now and I will say, tell me what happened in this time. I want you to write this out. So they'll have to stop and think about what happened in this time. And I literally will walk them through looking at their path. And actually in my book, I had to do exactly what you said. I started with explaining where I had been. Mm-hmm. So when I got to what I wanted them to hear, because I was an executive assistant, assume the book is about that, but it's really about me working with and building leaders. Mm-hmm. And so I had to have people I really do get people to walk through, where have you been? What did you know? And Kayla, she mentioned mentoring. It's so funny, but building administrative team, she'll probably say, if I hear her say one more time to me, you got to build a team, I'm going to scream. But that was something I would say over and over to her, because I had to learn how to evaluate my life and understand you can't go it alone. You can't row it alone. But you have to look at your life and even see people that helped you along the way. We are made up of many different people. So many people are looking for that one great hero. I've had many different heroes. So if you just take the time and write your story, Write your own story. Mark can write his story now. He doesn't have to wait till he's my age to write his story.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things I'm really pushing to my publishing company. Write your story right now. Someone needs to hear your story right now. But we have to look at it, all the good and all the not so good, because the not so good are the lessons learned. And nobody wants to talk about those,
Yeah.
but the not so
They
good
help.
are the lessons learned. So
They
write
help.
out your story.
They help. I also teach. I teach psychology and I teach English at the collegiate level. So last year we took a class of English students. They wrote their inspirational stories, and so the book is called Heart Starters for School Scholars, and it's on Amazon now. But that's exactly what we did, Minister Jamal. We really took all of their stories and harness them into a book. And so it's very neat because other scholars are able to look at them and say, oh, I'm an adult. Oh, this adult learner was able to do this while they were in school. Oh, wow. Or don't do this. So that's exactly what we do.
We forget our stories, and we're like, we just did a wonderful about the first Black. But I hate to say it. I mean, I could think of people I know that are the first Blacks in something, even now, and my daughter was the first Black cheerleader when she was in high school. There's still a lot of first Blacks and a lot of experiences. We need to write them down because there still is a generation that needs to know even what we are going through. Right. So it's not over.
I love it. And not the only Black person, I think the only Black people that we saw for Black History Month, it was a short list, and was the ones that we would see over and over. And right. Now we're getting a longer list, but maybe not even those foundational people. So I think that's great. The other thing that I was thinking about while we were talking about the first is the power in the room. And I don't want to forget that when we get to the end is that all of those people first that we were talking about, wow, there's a lot of power we may not know about. So Kayla, and guys, I'm going to ask you all to give me a word that would equal evaluation. Is it time? Is it energy? What word equals evaluation? Kayla, if you give me just a little take on your evaluation, what would be something that you would talk about when you talk about evaluating wisdom? How do you pinpoint wisdom?
I think that evaluating wisdom takes a level of discernment and really knowing who you are communicating with. Evaluating. Okay, so one of the things that my mom used to tell me, especially when I came into motherhood, was that a lot of people are going to have a lot of advice, but you're the mother. And so you have to take the information that you're given with respect, but then you have to filter it. And you take what applies to you, take what, is needed. And then some of that you're going to kind of fall off, push to the side. But, and so I think when I think of evaluation, especially when it comes to our history and things of that nature, I think that it takes some of that. I definitely believe that the importance of kind of what Bishop was talking about. The elders are important. Thank God. I still have my mother. I don't have my grandmother anymore, but I have always surrounded myself in some form or fashion with those that are older than me. Sometimes people think I'm older because I'm around those people, and I'm okay with that. But I wanted to chime in really quickly on something concerning the next generation, or the generation that we are educating right now. I have two 13-year-olds, a boy and a girl. And the power of education, not just the books, but encouraging them to read, encouraging certain actions is so vital. I listened to what Mark was talking about, and I was thinking in my head, like, man, am I shutting them down and not knowing in my way of trying to shield them from certain things? But I mean, the way the generation is, they have access to so much. It's only so much shielding we can do, and so that's kind of where I take that filtering aspect from. So I know that I can't from the television, from the YouTube, from, I can put limits on it and I can try and filter that, but also making sure that the lines of communication is open, not just from mom. We don't always take that information from mom, but that they have other trusted people in their lives that they can get information from as well. And still understand exactly what Mark said again, is that a lot of the stuff that happened before is happening now. And, you are the ones, hopefully, that can change that. So this is why, education is important. This is why I'm forcing you in some areas to do certain things. This is why presentation is important. This is why you don't go outside looking a certain kind of way. This is why, those things together, I think, will help bridge that gap with our history and hopefully changing our future. All right, I'm done.
That's excellent. That's excellent, and merge the points together. This is where I struggle with knowledge and wisdom, though, because for the generation that's up under us, I never want to tell the girls, don't do it that way. I already tried it that way. Don't do it that way. And so that's a struggle for me, because I would watch them do things that out overplayed my quote unquote failure in what didn't work for me, or because their youthfulness empowered them differently. Do you understand what I mean? So this is my interesting, up and down, Bishop, with knowledge and wisdom. It's like the knowledge is there, and I don't want to drown out that oomph that a young person has based on what I've already seen. I don't want to drown it out.
And that's that wisdom of knowing how and when to insert information and knowledge. Sometimes we have all the knowledge in the world and we give it at the wrong time. And we give it at a time where they can't receive it. And so we get the reaction, you just don't understand. Well, we need to have the wisdom of how to insert what we know to try to save them. And then the understanding that sometimes we got to stand by with alcohol and a rag to clean up that mess up. And now we say, okay, now this is why I was trying to tell you this, but I'm here for you and I love you. And we move forward.
And I think sometimes we won't have to clean up. That's my point. I think their genius is kicks in. Nikki, yes, I saw your scratching and everything.
Well, there are things, and I would have to agree to that. And I can say this because literally Bishop has had me as long as you've had me. And I can say that, to Bishop's point, my father saw a level of wisdom in him much, much younger, because he could trust me, me at 18, me, and said, take care of that one. He had to watch, he was told him to take care of both of his girls, but he told him that this one was going to be a little different, but to take care of his girls. And understanding that there were certain things I couldn't hear from my dad. I just couldn't. But there's certain, even to this day, there's certain things that he can say, all right now, or he'll just look and say, okay. And dealing with Mackenzie, if anything Bishop says is law, she doesn't have the wisdom to know how to use what she has been given. And we have our instances where she takes her hair down and says, but Bishop said, pray for understanding, and you don't understand me, so you should pray.
That was funny though.
But but I now have,
I'm sorry.
So yeah, that was a great Bishop moment. Yeah, the auntie feels like her hair was fine, but I can say, all right, look, Bishop, look, Dad, because I call him Dad. Dad, listen, Mackenzie is doing this. She said that because you said. So we can have those conversations and hear the wisdom that comes from him, although he isn't my dad's age, I can hear the wisdom that comes from him. I can hear the wisdom that comes from Rob, because Rob has adult girls. I have one adult girl. He has multiple. He has two, and so he's been through the stages that I'm going through. So he can say you have three girls, but two are adults. So my point is, he can say, "All right, Nikki, listen. Your best bet is to do this with her hair. Let her have some freedom, but you know it's going to look right all the time, and you don't necessarily have to deal with her taking her hair down and putting on a fascinator and saying, well, she looks cute because her hat matches her shirt." But
Larry.
it keeps me from being frustrated as a mom. So, and the other side of it, I have Mark, our resident. I call him my part-time adult, but he technically, I guess, is an adult. But I have to parent each person differently, and I have to give each one a different amount of information and a different amount of knowledge. So although Mark knows what the laws are, he knows what's right, he knows what the law says this. Yeah, but life says certain things you can't do because I need you to come home. I need you to make it home. We did a premiere last night for American Skin. And I tried to get Mark to watch it, and he can chime in. He like, nah, I'm good. Because and although he probably should, because of what he thought how it related to the past, and what he saw, how it was relating to the past and what it's doing to the present, and how it's merging together, and he wasn't really feeling that. So as a mom, and to Kayla's point, there's certain things I have to give him, whereas Mackenzie can't even watch it. It's not time for her to watch that movie. She doesn't need to know. That's not what she needs to know about right now. We don't even need to have those conversations today. Might need to have those conversations in a year or two, but not right now. So I think for us, identifying who has wisdom is more important than, because there's some really old fools running around here, and there's some really wise people. There's some people. Bishop can say some things to me that I hear, and other people can't even. I don't even hear him talking, because I know the wisdom that's coming from him. Versus just because you're 75 years old, I'm sitting here looking like, now not to say that they don't have anything to offer. There is something. Everybody has something that I can learn from. But we have to identify with where we're going, who has what we need. And sometimes that is discernment, and that's a level of wisdom within that. Not everybody has what I need.
Okay.
So, I call you when I need optimism, and I need to be in the happy bubble. And I need to think, because Valencia lives in the happy bubble of everything is going to be great. That's Valencia. That she finds the positive in all of that. I call Rob when I need a solution. I need a solution today, not a solution next week, not a solution. I need a practical, what I can do solution right now. When I call Kayla, it's processes. Okay, I need a process. How can I make sure this doesn't happen again, and all of that? I call Jarvis when I want to make sure that I'm not going to run into traffic because somebody decides they want to have a protest. And I need to make sure that I know how to. Everybody has something that they can offer and that they provide. And you just have to know who your village is and pack your village with what you need and the people that you need.
I think one of the interesting parts of that is there's liberty in getting the concept, Bishop, because of this segment we were talking about wisdom and evaluating. Because in Nikki's village, I may be positivity. In my daughter's village, I may be processes. In somebody else's village, I may be the solution bringer. In somebody else's village, I may be the prayer partner. I may be the enforcer, even for my mom and dad, because I'm their caretaker. I may be the advocate. So I think
you're not the enforcer of Vivian. Now, come on now.
And
advocate. You laugh at us.
So I think that part of the wisdom is not only, hey Junie, I think that part of the wisdom of evaluating, I think Mark did say a mouthful when he talked about the foundation, and when we talked about just the mentoring and the concept, all of that, because that part is being able to establish this bottom line that this is what the concept is, this is what the information is, this is how it can be used, and that's fluid for each of us in different situations, but it is definitely understanding that the information is out there and how to use it. And I think one of the other things that I wanted to make sure that we talk about later on is how to communicate that intergenerationally, because even if we have the wisdom, but we can't connect, it doesn't make any difference. So it does not make any difference. So the second part we're going to talk about leads right into that, talking about the now. Give me, and I'm going to start with the guys because I sort of switched up on you, Rob and Jarvis. Um, tell me something that would say to you or say to someone else, we are embracing the strength that we need right now in our community. What actions do we need to take that would talk about embracing the strength? We already talked about the idea, the concept of looking at the past, finding the nuggets out of the past. Now let's talk about what are we going to do right now? What do we talk about? Or so what denotes strength in this process? Is it strength if we start coming together talking about it? Is it showing strength if we start writing about it? Is it if we have a plan of action? If we, I don't know, whatever you would think of as strength to embrace what we need to do now, community wide, what would be your take on strength in the now? I'm gonna start with you, Rob.
All right, I'll jump in. It looks like me and Jarvis, we at the free throw line, bro. So we got to switch these. All right. I believe what I was going to talk about prior to this still applies to this next segment.
Okay.
And the one word that I thought was vital is the word execution.
Oh, it's perfect.
So when you think about execution, there's a couple of different meanings, right? Some people may think execution, like the executioner, you put a stop to it, you put an end to it, you get rid of it. And that is what I mean. At the same time, execution meaning taking what you've learned directly from experiences directly and indirectly. Now it's time to execute those things because we've learned so much already. So implementation, execution, those are going to be the vital things that we have to do. It's no more okay. Those folks over there, they'll take care of it. They're into that type of stuff,
right?
Because everything is affecting all of us. It's no more just them folks over there. It's no more that population, that community. It's affecting all of us in some form or fashion. So we have to utilize execution at this point, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
So, Rob, I'm going to ask you, our next segment talks about aligning the vision with purpose. So I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that execution when we talk about alignment of vision and purpose, because that's definitely part of that next step, okay? So
Sure.
don't forget, just make sure that you include that someplace so that can be a note that someone can take down, because we want to be able to leave. You don't, I love the counsel, but you always want to be able to leave with something in hand that says my life changed.
Yeah.
Right? That, the conversations are beautiful, but the goal is to leave with nuggets like your fist balled up. Okay? All right, beautiful. Jarvis, so tell us a little bit more about what the strength look like now, about embracing the wisdom of the past. What does it look like right now?
Embracing the wisdom of the past is learning, or not learning, but knowing where you came from, and just taking charge of starting, going forward to do it now. You don't have to start over. You just need to start. And a lot of folks are just scared to start anyway. And they're just like, oh, this happened. I'm the raw version of me, because I was in my head, I was trying to figure out how to say it nice, and I can't figure it out. I think he's rubbing off on me right now.
Please just say it.
Sometimes you have to tell somebody that they stupid without just saying, hey, you stupid. Like, just, you can just be able to just, I'm not going to say who does this a lot, but if you can learn how to jet out that thing and, and tell them, hey, that ain't right. And then you just give them just to think about it and then walk on and then come back and bring it back up. They'd be all right. But it's just the key of getting them to think about, hey, what is that going to do? How are you supposed to do it? And once you figure out how that is not going to work and that somebody else is going to do, you just, maybe if I do it, it'll change. Just take forth and just start. You don't have to start over. Just start.
So you're giving us the nugget of starting, and then if something interrupts your start, you go from right there, not go all the way back as though you're starting from scratch. That's part of the foundation of the knowledge, right? That's the wisdom that you learn from. So I love it. Yes, thank you very, very much. So we have execution, we have the start itself. Is there anybody else that wants to chime in on embracing the now? Embracing the now, embracing the now. What's a good way to embrace the now?
I was going to unmute Bishop for Bishop to go ahead and
He can take this over in just a
how do
second.
we embrace the now? Because, normally, yeah. So how do we embrace the now, great Bishop?
All right, Nikki. Now is a product of yesterday. And so many times our nows are a result of what we didn't learn, study, or apply from yesterday. The critical element of embracing now.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Bishop for a second. He'll be back.
He'll be back.
Wait a minute, here he is.
Is he back?
Bishop is coming back in.
Okay, Marky, I want you to get your mind prepared because I'm going to ask you a millennial now. Okay, I'm going to ask you about a millennial now.
Okay. I'm sorry, I keep getting kicked out, so it just keeps kicking me out. But that point was now is critical to establish our tomorrow. Today is the seed that produces tomorrow's harvest. There's little you can do about today in today, because right now is the product of yesterday's seed. Tomorrow is a product of today's seed. So it becomes critical to embrace now, analyze now, understand now, execute now, so then tomorrow can be much better than what our now is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Bishop, so much. So I think he really put all of the steps together, interlocked for us, which I can clearly see. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that we highlight is how I see approaching the now, and how my daughters see approaching the now, how Mark sees approaching the now, because sometimes I'm talking to them and I have to backtrack because I know whatever I'm about to say is the difference between me telling them to make a phone call and them texting the person. I told them to call and they sent a text. Okay. All right. Because their infrastructure is different. So, Marky, when I say to you, embrace the now, I know, even though you're a history major, your mind says, I really don't want to talk about none of all this stuff. I'm about to do this. So when you talk about embracing the now, how do you see the strength of using that foundation. Like, what do you do right now to change your future? What do you do? What would you say?
And this is me personally, because like you said earlier, I'm a bit of an abnormality. The
Yeah,
way I
I
like
didn't
to
say
think about things is a lot
abnormality.
different.
I said anomaly. That's two different things.
Oh,
Okay.
I claim both of them because I think they're the
Okay.
same.
Okay. But
But
I didn't say that. Your auntie said
right,
anomaly. Okay.
anomaly. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
So, the way I think about things is typically a bit different because I like to think of things in a more like sort of streamlined fashion, disregarding all of the uglier things that I might encounter on the way, and just sort of taking them as they come.
Okay.
So, for me, I'd say the best way to do what you were saying is just sort of acknowledge it all. Like acknowledge that, what you're looking at, what you're going to encounter isn't going to be all great and fun and sweet and, just
Okay.
easy to digest, and more so just accepting like, okay, cool. It's not the best. We might not have the best situation. And from that, using what we do have now, since time has progressed, to sort of tackle that rather than sort of getting stuck in the fact that things aren't ideal. And
Okay.
also in, acknowledging that things aren't ideal, sort of getting rid of the complacency that we might have grown up with. Things aren't ideal. And now that we see them now, it isn't right to say, after you've acknowledged that things aren't great, to say, oh, well, we've been, dealing with it for so long. There's no reason to like kick up a fuss about it. No, if something's wrong, if you can obviously see something's wrong to the point where you can say, you know what, this specifically is a problem, then you sort of now have a responsibility at the very least to consider
Exactly.
how it needs to be changed and what it being changed will look like.
I love it. So basically, he said it. I'm acknowledging it, but I'm going to start right here and that's along with what Jarvis gave us, that nugget he gave us. Start right here. I acknowledge it, but I'm not going to harp on it. I'm not going to harp on it. And now I'm going to devise a different plan to go into this next phase. So in our next phase, we're going to talk about your future and the power that comes from aligning your vision to purpose, because that's basically what Marky told us. That, listen, I get it that it's not working, but the bottom line is we need to get over here. Bottom line is we need to get over here. So I'm going to start Rob, I'm going to end with you, but I'm going to start with Nikki, and one quick segment about how to get from the importance of rather aligning your vision with purpose. Aligning your vision with purpose, because that's the last part. We talked about the wisdom, we talked about the concept, we talked about this strength that comes from us, like literally looking at what needs to happen and that strength right in the middle. Now we're talking about the power that's going to come from the alignment. So tell me about alignment and vision and purpose, Nikki.
Well, I think the first thing when it comes to purpose goes back to the thing that we did in our very first counsel, is the I am statements. Who am I? Because my I ams are formed by my purpose. And when I align my actions and my activities with the vision that God gave me, because my vision is going to fit my purpose, then my actions and my activities have to line up to achieve the purpose. Now, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to go around the world sometimes. I'm going to be the children of Israel. Nikki has been the children of Israel walking around something that should have taken me 4 days for 40 years. But, that is because my purpose is something that I can't deny. And that's something that for all my Star Trek fans, the Borg, resistance is futile. So I can resist as long as I want to, but my purpose is God ordained. And as much as I may not like the process that I have to go through, my process when I start understanding that my purpose is over here, I got to get over here. I can't keep looking back there to get to over there. I just can't. So once I can embrace my I ams and I can embrace my purpose, I then can respond better to my vision. And I can align and truly design the life that I want to live because I have embraced who I am and I have embraced my purpose here on earth. So the life that I am purposed to live, I can now truly enjoy and design that life because I've embraced it. I'm okay. This is who I am. And I'm not talking about I am the way I am and you're just going to have to deal with it. No, I am is who God called me to be. I am is who I was purposed to be before I was formed in my mother's womb. I am because as my Mimi said on our first one, I'm not a daughter-in-law. I'm a daughter. So I am an heir. So I am who he called me to be. And so once I finally embrace that, I truly can align my purpose and my vision, and they match, and we walk hand in hand. And that's just kind of where I am, what I see with that and where I'm going with that.
I love it. So I love it. I see that about proclaiming who you understand yourself to be, and then making your steps match that. But I also want to say there was nothing that would make me madder in the whole world when I was in my 1920s, 21, for somebody to say, "What's your purpose?" Ninja, if I knew that, I wouldn't be sitting right here. I'm looking at you because I don't know.
Can I chime in?
Yes.
I didn't know there was an order in there. I don't want to be out of order, but when Nikki was talking, I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't always know. I mean, it took me a long time to figure out my purpose, and I still, even to this day, don't know if I fully know what it is. And I feel like sometimes we get so tunnel vision on the purpose, but sometimes we have to learn to walk. And maybe he only gave me the vision. Maybe that's all I could handle at this moment. So as long as I'm doing the vision, hopefully the purpose will be revealed. And sometimes the purpose, maybe not the purpose changes, but sometimes the vision changes to fit the purpose as I mature, as I live, as I keep growing, as I experience different things, whether it's good or bad. Because embracing all of that all at once, I would have went the other direction. Now, would I have come back? Absolutely, because that's just how it's set up. But I mean, just automatically knowing the purpose, I'm like you. Sometimes I'm still like, Lord, is it? Like, is this all of it, or is there more? You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
that's hence my saying it took me, I was the children of Israel walking around for 40 years, not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I just know I'm angry and I'm good at going off on people and I'm good at, chopping people off at the neck. I'm great at it, but that's not necessarily my purpose.
Right.
But I know that I'm good at what I'm good at it, but it came easy to me. But that wasn't my purpose. My purpose is to actually empower. Now, how I'm empowering people, we're still working on it. That's Bishop and his wisdom. I might have the knowledge, but knowing how to present the knowledge that I know. And clearly I haven't gotten there because, as Jarvis kindly said, I'm rubbing off on him, because I'm still struggling with me telling people, don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. But that doesn't necessarily empower people. But in my head, I hear, don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. You know better. Don't be dumb. But so figuring that out, like what I'm good, how do I use that? How do I empower people? That's something that I'm still figuring out. And I'm still, but at least I know where I'm going. I know the promised land now. I just, that wilderness was whoa, that was interesting. That's when Valencia prayed a whole lot that I wasn't fighting folks because I was hungry, and you know, but that was when I kept Bishop and his wife on their faces because
So I think part of the important part of that, Kayla, I really wanted to bring that out, and we're kind of winding down this session, but I really wanted to bring that out, that we need to put the benchmark, or we need to put that time out in there to say to somebody, it's okay. It's so okay, and the execution and moving through, starting still matters, because you don't have to be um 105 and lived your life to move mountains. So I'm going to go back to Marky at this point. Mark, I'm going to ask you about how you feel that you're getting towards your purpose. What step do you think that you're taking towards getting into what you want to do with your life? Because I know that it's a process, and it's something that I believe we need to kind of take a little bit of the pressure off and really just kind of walk with people through. So how do you think you're getting through the process of getting to where you're going?
I will say it definitely did take a lot of work, because a lot of what I thought I wanted to do when I was, even younger than I am now, is leagues away from what I'm currently sort of trying to pursue.
Right.
And a lot of it just takes finding yourself. It takes experiences, and it takes looking at, what you naturally gravitate towards. And sometimes it's the complete opposite of the thing you've been telling, yourself that you've been wanting to do with your life the entire time. I thought I wanted to go into robotics. I thought robotics was
I remember that.
And I showed a natural talent for it pretty young. And at that time, I was one of many kids who said history is the most boring thing I have ever come across in my life. And then as I got older, and I started encountering philosophy and just people talking about their experiences in the past and learning history, in high school, I realized that I sort of have a knack for it, but also I sort of relate to this, and I show an interest in this that's sort of greater than, oh, this is pretty cool, I might want to do this later in life. And, this is sort of vital. And I feel the need to sort of include this in everything. And now I'm just like, well, I think I might want to be a teacher. I think I might want to be somebody who educates, somebody who helps other people sort of get to where they're going. And it's the complete opposite, really, of what I thought I would be wanting to do. So I feel like it just takes a lot of living. Sometimes you just haven't gotten to the point where you find out that, you might want to be in such and such field, or you might want to pursue your dreams in a different way. Sometimes you just haven't gotten there yet, and you just need a little bit more experience. And sometimes you're already there. So it takes a lot of living, and I say it would take a lot of trusting yourself. And when all signs point to this thing, and your gut is telling you, you know what, maybe it might just be this one direction that I want to go in, just go.
Mm-hmm. You had two moments in there, a Marion Wright Edelman moment, where you definitely talked about your you didn't let your fear overtake you, and you allowed that greatness to come on and shine through. And the other thing is, you didn't allow yourself to be defined by anybody else. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Like, even in the roles that we play in other people's lives, they still do not absolutely define who we are. And that's a very strong point. No matter how somebody else sees us like this, what we see is the pathway. I love it. All right, Minister, thank you, Marky. Minister Smalls, so tell us something about aligning the vision and the purpose.
Wow, purpose. What is my purpose? What that is, something Kayla said, is we get tunnel vision on that sometimes. And our great bishop, and I remember this even when I get into that place, is we have been walking out, and I remember this when I wrote the book. We have been living at my age, I have been doing my purpose all along. So that goes back to when you said, how do you evaluate? I had to step back and look at my life. And then it was like, I had been doing purpose. I'm like you, Nikki. I could cut, I mean, I was proud at the way that I could use a knife. I was in the street, I had a pocket knife, and in the church, I had the word of God. I knew how to cut either way. I was proud of that. So because I knew what needed to be cut, what didn't. So when the Lord honed that in and I learned to walk in my purpose, those things that I now cut on people, I chisel them to help them find their purpose. It took years for me to mature to that point. So I was walking out my purpose all along.
Ah.
And
So
so just keep
with
go
us.
back to what Jarvis said. Just just start from where you are and just keep walking.
And so, Minister, you have us looking at our personal history and our community history too, as part of what would be our support, because not only our external history, but our internal history is what you said as well.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I love something Mark said. I forgot what it was already because that old lady thing happened. But yes, we have aligning with the purpose. Just keep moving. As Jarvis said, where you are, if you mess up, start. Just start and keep walking. Don't stop.
Beautiful.
Walking, stop.
So
Jarvis, I want to add before you jump in with Jarvis. I want to show something to Mark. Mark, when I was in college, although he just left, he'll pop back in. When I was in college, Auntie V's other sister, you don't remember Zandra, but Auntie V's other sister Z and I were in a college choir together. And the great bishop was, before he was a bishop, he was the director of the choir. He was going to be a judge. He was going to be an attorney. And before, somehow, some way, I don't know the entire story, but like he knew when he got to Morehouse, he was going to be a judge. He knew when he got to Morehouse, he was going to be a judge. He was a choir director, but he knew he was going to be a judge. Now, 20 however many years later, he's not a judge. He's not an attorney. He still, counsels and everything else, but it's okay for you to say that all these years, hey, I'm going to be robotics, I'm going to be robotics, I'm going to be in science, and now you're in history. It's completely okay. And it's okay that now that you're in history, before you graduate, you say, yep, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else. And so there is an example of somebody like that's literally here that completely changed. Bishop, I was talking to Mark about you knowing you were going to be a judge, and before you graduated.
What's so powerful about what you're saying?
We might have a delay. I think we lost him.
He has a delay.
He's gonna come back.
But yeah, so just know that it's okay, Mark. It's truthfully, it is okay to figure it out as you go. That's what Morehouse is all about. Which is why I say you are my favorite man of Morehouse at this point. I know that, Mr. Rob had some stuff that he thought he was going to do it that he's not doing now. I'm sure Kayla had some stuff. Auntie V had some stuff. Jarvis, Michelle, everybody had some stuff. So it's
I think he's walking in it confidently. I really do. I think that he already has key to it. He's walking in it very confidently. Okay.
Bishop is back.
Bishop is back.
Okay, I'm getting kicked out every 20 seconds, so let me hurry up. I think that purpose, what you all are saying is very powerful, that purpose is not something you decide on or choose. It is something chosen for you, decided for you, that you come into the knowledge of. Purpose is the reason for my being born. I didn't birth myself. There were some other powers and we bring in the God factor, that God has set a purpose for my life. My job is to live long enough to discover that purpose and operate in that purpose until I reach destiny. Destiny is the arrival, purpose is the vehicle. So I'm in something on my way somewhere. And that's what, if we really understood purpose and destiny, we would be able to say, hey, I didn't choose this for myself. I had a whole nother dream, but I came to understand that this is the breath that was breathed into me, that I am. And one of the most powerful names of God he gives to Moses, and that is, tell him, I am sent you. So when we come into the I am of who he said we were, then we get to walk into a place called destiny that is the fulfillment of the I am.
Mhm.
I ain't trying to preach, I'm just talking.
Yes, you are, Bishop, but it's okay, because that's your I am. So that's your I am.
Yes.
It's your purpose. And I think the one of the important parts of the room is recognizing that we cannot massacre people while they are getting into their vehicle. And I think that's what happens, is
Yes.
that people get in the room and they are almost
Yes.
shamed when you talk about purpose, and do you know your purpose? Oh, I don't know my purpose. But you do know, as you're gonna know more as you continue to walk. You feel it. It's all in there. It's like Campbell soup. But just give yourself a chance to open it up and walk through. So I think that's the important part of realizing that we are equipped with that purpose from the beginning. We just need to give ourselves a chance, and we don't need to just shame other people during the journey.
Right.
That's it. That's it. Jarvis, give us a word about this vision, purpose, alignment, whatever you want to share at this point.
Ooh, that was wide open. You got me twice. I'm just going to let you know you got me twice.
That's because I
You
know
keep
that you can
having
handle
me.
it.
You keep having me come behind Bishop, and he is part of my learning curve. If you hang around other wise people, your learning curve kind of get shorter and shorter.
Yeah. But you're doing so well.
Well, thank you for gassing me up. Thank you. Thank you.
No, no. Now you know I'm not that type of chick. You know that. Stop playing. You know I'm not.
All right. So alignment, purpose, and you said one more thing.
Vision.
Vision.
Mhm.
Um.
What kind of
What
power can come from that? So let me narrow the scope for you. What kind of power can come from alignment? What can be the impact of getting all those things in one place? Okay, vision, alignment, and purpose. How about that?
um.
Did I skim it down for you?
I hear you, but I heard something else as well. So I'm gonna go with what I heard for a second,
Okay,
and
let's
then
go with that.
you can hit me where I need to go. A lot of times, some of our purpose comes from our hurt,
Ah,
and we like to. Sometimes we have the time to find purpose in where we're hurting at. Um, and I won't say that I found hurt in no guidance, but there was guidance that I wanted. So I have looked to certain areas to find that, and in that I found purpose. I was happy finding guidance in something. I'm like, wow. And then when I talk to other people about it, they're like, you know what? I have never heard it that way. I've never seen it that way. And I kind of tailored myself and found myself to be in that. One thing that I have learned at a very, I say a very young age, I'm about to cross into another decade. Y'all pray for me because I'm hurting. Um, is learn to be interested and not interesting. A lot of the younger, and I
oh, I
say
love
younger than
that.
me, they like to be heard and they like to be They like to be interesting, and they
Okay.
never hear anything like we was talking about earlier. They never hear anything that the older or the wiser people want to say just because they want to be heard. They was like, I got to get my point across. I got to get my point across. But you're not making a point. You're just talking. You're making a lot of noise, and it don't sound good. We need Nikki to be in the background and control your volume because it don't sound right. So let's learn to be interested and not interesting, and just be there. Be there. Don't be afraid of your pain pulling out your purpose.
I love it. So two things he gave us is internal and external noise. So let that internal noise of pain guide you, and turn down the external noise of other people that could kind of temper where you're going. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Malloy, I'm asking you to anchor us in this whole discussion of purpose, vision, and alignment, and the power that comes from those comrades.
Yeah, indeed. Try to make this as brief as possible because it'll probably spark a whole nother conversation. But I know for me, because I have to come from here to really deal with this, and I think that's important to do that. Sometimes we get things misconstrued when we talk about dreams versus vision, right? Dreams versus vision. It's easy to dream. Like when we dream, if we have dreams, it's usually we got money or we're successful, or sometimes dreams are, a little scary because of, some trauma in our lives, right? So dreams, I feel like, are random or uncontrollable, right? It doesn't have to necessarily do all the time what we project. Sometimes it's things projected into us. But when we talk about vision is very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Vision is very intentional. And I believe when you start talking about purpose and vision, you have to include identity, right? And so a lot of times we have to find our identity, right? And once we do that, or as we have that journey, it allows our purpose to find us, right? Because even all of us here, we may have had the vision of, what we were going to do, but not necessarily how we were going to do it, right? And so as we established our identity, it allows us to operate in our purpose as ourselves, right? So it's very distinctive when we talk about purpose, because it's truly who we are, operating in our purpose, using our gifts, embracing our experiences and our lessons in life, and it allows us to execute it. So that's why we may have similar purposes, meaning mentoring, teaching and things like that. But because we have unique identities, it allows us to do it in such a unique way. So that's why it's never any competition, whatever industry or whatever you're doing, it's never a competition, because you're operating in your purpose. You're not operating in someone else's purpose, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing about it. And I think that it's very unique, because we get caught up looking at others and how they're executing, what the results they're getting, and then we compare ourselves. I mean, it happens. It happens, and we look at others and we're like, okay, well, how did they get there, and how are they doing what they're doing? Mm-hmm. First of all, they have their own story. We're creating our own story, right? And more important than that, the delivery, the community that you're attached to or that you adopt, your gifts, your purpose, your lessons, your experience is going to help them, right? So it's kind of like when we talk about in business, there's room for everybody, right? Everybody can eat, right? And it's because of our uniqueness. And so embracing our purpose, knowing that there's a difference between dreams and visions, right? So we get caught up in dreams. Dreams are cool. Sometimes dreams, you think, okay, is something going to happen to me, right? But vision is very, very intentional, right? I believe God instills a very unique vision, and it allows us to operate uniquely as we establish our identity so we can execute in our divine purpose. And so, we all hit that part differently in our lives, right? And the good part about that is that's part of our story. And our story is also a part of delivering our purpose to those that we influence. And so, that's something that I'm still learning at my age, and still learning from Mark, my kids, my parents, my peers, and all that is a melting pot of, and helps me operate in my purpose and continue to learn and establish what I need to be doing continuously.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's important. We had all the generations in the room today, and that is so very important that we begin to tap into intergenerational equity. It is the new currency. Um, we have taken the time to talk about wisdom and finding the nuggets in wisdom, the foundations that will allow us to springboard. We have taken the time to understand about embracing the strength for now and what that looks like. What does it actually look like for us to stop or to know that we just have to start in order to be strong? What does it look like to admit that we don't really know what the end game is? The book is start 7 Habits of Successful. Yes, it is okay to ask God for help. Thank you, Junie. But we might not know our ultimate quote unquote purpose. It's okay to say that out loud and acknowledge that in all of our ways we don't know, but we are able to, if we just start the path, that we will literally line up what we're doing to where we are called to be, because we will be on there. But we gotta start, and we gotta take note. We literally have only just a minute, and this 60 seconds that we have in it, we got to use it, because we have lost quite a bit of it in this last 10 years, 20 years. So all the things need to line up to not abusing this last minute, and embracing our own beauty, our own strength, and realizing just who are we not to be fabulous, who are we not to be great. Let's do it. All right. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Such a great counsel and such wonderful counsel. Thank you so much for all the kings and the queens in the room. Thank you very, very much. And I think we're going out to a musical interlude that walks right into the change that has to come. We're going to list in the comment section everybody's links. Is that correct, Nikki?
Yes, so we are going to list, and then it'll also be on the website, the links to everybody. Um, uh, Mark's art gallery, Michelle's book, Perrier's pieces, Jarvis's website, Bishop's everything that he has going on, Rob's everything that he has going on. The name of the game that we played today is I Am the First, and I Am the First can be found at ourgamesmatter.com, but that'll be listed also because it is available now. And we are and all of Bishop's, I did mention Bishop's books and the projects that he has coming up. All of that will be listed on the website. It'll also be in the comments on this video on Facebook, and as well as YouTube. You'll be able to click on those links. So I'll get those from everybody. And we
Love and Book of Poetry
that we are listening to from our that we'll be going out to is from one of our Black Histories facts. This is actually a song produced by Brian Michael Cox and a whole bunch of other people. And yes, speaking about being the change that we like to see. But before we go, Valencia, you generally do a round because I don't know what everybody has going on or what they got coming up next. So, Mark, what do you have going on? You don't want to? No. Okay. Mark has an art gallery that's coming out, so we'll be dealing with that. Michelle, you have your books. Your books are available on Amazon now.
Yes.
And and then also those who are writing and want to publish books, they need to reach out to you for the publishing company.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
King's
okay.
Yes.
King's Publishing. Yes. Perrier's Pieces.
Website is there.
Yes, that website will be there. Jarvis, you have your website that can be linked. Bishop, now that you're here, the 20 seconds that you have before it tries to kick you off again, can you let us know what you have going on? Because I don't remember all of it.
Absolutely. Got 20 seconds. January 29th and 30th is our Breath of Life Fellowship Prayer Summit. This year we're doing 4 layers of prayer. We're doing the Issachar Gathering. We're doing the Midnight Cry. We're doing the Prayer University. And then we're going into the community. We're going to be doing community prayer. So it's on the website, bolfellowship.com, bolfellowship.com. And then February is our Frangelism Month, friend, relative, associates, and neighbors Frangelism Month in February. So every Sunday we'll be celebrating that, and our Black History Month. We'll be doing special singing, special, all of that going on in the month of February. So we got a lot of good things going on, and I'll stop right there.
All righty, and we can post the website for the church so that people can know where to get to for Frangelism. We'll post that as well as the link for Breath of Life for the end of this month. We'll post that as well. Rob, what do you have going on, sir?
Pressing the mute button was the first thing I needed to have going on. All right.
Right.
The second thing is, even in these times, of course, we're being very safe and smart and using wisdom in our activity. I am doing virtual events, virtual game night, also doing hosting some virtual entertainment events, which are pretty cool. A lot of the information you can keep up with are on my handles, which is the I am Rob Malloy on your social media platforms. You can also see some information on robmalloy.com. But at the same time, I'm typically linked to a few folks that are on here. So if you see them, you may see me, and if you see me, you may see them. But most importantly, it's definitely a blessing to be able to have a platform and a voice. So thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Love it.
All right, Dr. V, what do you have going on, madam?
Okay, guys. So the Healing Harvest coming up on the 22nd. It's the conversation about vision boards, which is so neat. Look for Kaleidoscope Love, the poetry moments coming up. It's Valentine's month. Look for Pearl Atlanta. We're going to do something virtual from my friend girl's beautiful massage studio. So make sure you tag in for that. And we are preparing for our Reality Check conference in March. Also, just make sure you're listening out. We are definitely going to do keeper moments with some young people showing off their talents, just because we want to keep it all live and up and have some. All right. So yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I am also on Healing Harvest with Dr. V on the 22nd of January. You will also see me at Breath of Life Prayer Summit. I will be there at Telios. You probably won't see me because I'll probably be in the booth, but I will be there. You will also see me at Frangelism. at New Life International Family Church. I will be around, probably in a booth, but I'll be there. So welcome, come on down.
And running around.
And running around. I'll be running around. And then we do have the Reality Check Empowerment Zone Conference coming up in March. So COVID has to go away because we have to have our conference. So COVID has to go. We've had COVID here enough. And Jarvis, I know you have some things coming up, but we'll post it on the website because I know you're driving and trying to post stuff while you're driving. Let's not do that. Let's not. So thank you everybody for joining us. We are the song we're going to go out to is produced by Brian Michael Cox. It is a host of his celebrity friends, and written by another first, which is Jonte Austin, which is one of the youngest members of the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. So that is what we are going out to. Thank you everybody for joining us. Look forward to seeing you all in February for our next conversation. With our counsel, our advice of kings and queens. And thank you.
Something. Start. Encourage somebody.
Start something. It's
Encourage
okay to start. And then start again.
I love it.
But make sure you pack your village with people that can give you wise counsel, because wise counsel is priceless. Be the change that you want to see, everybody.
These are tough times we live in, but still we can't just give in. We must stand tall and live strong. It's up to the youth to live on.
And carry this torch we pass down. You see, I know it's not the last round. In the next generation, my faith is unwavering.
My confidence in you is unshakable, because I know that you're willing and far beyond capable of doing all that must be done. But to do it all, we must be as one.
Life can be better than most of us dream. Yeah. So once you take the reins, believe in your greatness which lies within.
And for the better, this world will change.
I see that you want it. I see that you're working for it.
So don't take no days off.
It's gonna pay off. I see that you love it. I want you to know that
before you can see it, you gotta believe it.
You're the generation of tomorrow.
The pursuit starts today,
and all time is borrowed. So you have learned the ways.
You are not. Oh, I repeat,
you are not. Put on the search and lose. And you are hot. Yeah, I repeat it, that you are hot. So do what you do.
And we gon' do it big. We gon' make a scene. We gon' take the doubters, make them all believe. We gon' be the change that we wanna see. We're not taking average, chasing legend status. We can have the world, we can have it all. Nothing is too big, nothing is too small. We can be the change that we wanna see. We're not taking average, chasing legend status.
Oh, no. I see that it's in your heart. I see that it's in your heart. I feel your desire.
It only takes one spark. It only takes one spark to set it on fire.
You're the generation of tomorrow, but the work starts today.
And all time is borrowed, so there's no time to wait.
And you and I, yeah, I repeat, you and I. Put on this earth to lose. And you are hot. Yeah, I repeat it. You are hot. So do what you do. Yeah.
And we gon' do it big.
stop us now.